gears, right? We've all heard of gears, maybe if not, when we're talking about when we get that blade in the water, we always want to start in gear 1, right? Just as far as like anything else. If you start a car and you're driving stick, you try to start a car in gear 2, you know, it'll start with a putter, right? And then when it finally catches, it goes. Just like if you start your stroke in gear 2, it putters, and then somewhere along the lines you finally get a grab, and then you go, right? So you want to think about gear 1 is right where sorry, but I'm going to use this, right where your feet are at, right? You can only reach as far as your feet allow you to. Okay? I could overreach, but now I'm collapsed. This is not a position of strength. This is just me coming to here and eventually probably starting in gear 2 here. So you want to reach as far as your feet allow, okay? So you want to grab, boom, that's gear 1. And then as you continue to move on, you have your respective gears. So think about gear 2 is right before the knee, gear 3 is right where the mid-thigh, that's the fighting stroke, and then gear 4 is that nice, I wouldn't say it's nice, I hate gear 4, but it's that long stroke, okay? It's the long stroke. That means that you can see this line here, that it's consistent. It starts from here all the way here. Now if you start from, and also what you have now is time. You have time working for you. You have from point here to point here, that's a long stroke. What a lot of paddlers do, they start their power from back here. Because they come up and they, and sure enough, what they do now, instead of passing it back, they're trying to literally lift their ass up off the seat by grabbing water and using that, in a sense, putting water on this, pushing it down, or pulling it up, which that does to the boat, to the nose of the boat, it goes down, right? So we don't want that. We want grab and forward. We want grab and pull ourselves forward. That way the boat, when we grab, the boat initially, what the boat does, when you grab, the boat lifts, and then it goes forward. You don't want to be like grabbing and then trying to launch it up into the outer space. You're gonna get tired. You got to spread yourself out like butter. So some of you, studs who like to lift weights, yeah, great. That's great first 2-3 miles. That's why when I see a bodybuilder, I'm like, ugh. Well, it's gonna be fun for first 3 miles. But then when it ends up having to get tired, right? You gotta spread yourself out like butter. So punctuate the grab and then you maintain. So you really wanna make sure in gear 1, boom, you grab, and then as you maintain, it's just a matter of the gears, it's just a matter of how long you keep the blade in the water. So whether you're doing gear 1, 2, 3, or 4, how you place the blade, it's always the same. Grabbing that and starting this, bringing yourself initially to the spot to where you place the blade. Not ripping in, not pulling out, not doing any of that extra nonsense. Because what you're going to do is just basically tire yourself out. So today we're going to talk about gear 1. So basically you're going to, as our bodies, when we start the stroke from here, and we throw our bodies forward, we grab, that's gear 1. Okay? Set and grab. So it's catch hip, okay? So we're gonna do that. So when you catch, you're gonna just take the blade out of the water. Boom, 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 okay? So we're gonna do that today, and we're gonna then work on gear 4. So it's boom and then 4 all the way, keeping that pressure along. So we're gonna keep it slow. So if you're stroking today, your goal is to get your hands, lead your hands, throw your hands to then let your hands bring your body. Okay? Your hands bring your body, not body then hands. Not body then hands. It's hands and body. Okay? So you reach out and you're grabbing. You're reaching forward, you're gonna grab. Grab, right? Grab. It's not this. That's not grabbing, that's falling. Okay? And I'm not saying I'm even doing that. But for too high, you come up too high, well guess what? Your body gets to the spot before your hands do. So you want to reach forward and grab. Like you're literally just grabbing a pull-up bar and pulling yourself up, but doing it this way, yes.
Red, would those gears be used in racing?
You can.
And when?
you can. So like typically, well, gear 1, you're never ever going to stay in gear 1. That's just like when you're driving, right? You just get the engine going, then you switch to gear 2 almost immediately, right? But gear 1 is you knowing that you got that grab. You established that beginning part of momentum. So typically your starts, you're going to be in gear 2, just blah, 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 right? And then in gear 3, that's when you're settled in, you're fighting, or you're really getting yourself in a situation where you're fighting another boat. You're staying in gear 3, you're shifting between 2 and 3, right? If you're fighting another boat, trying to figure things out, what works with the crew. Some crews may like a gear 2, some crews might like a gear 3, but if it's all over the map, you go to gear 4 to find each other, right? Then you get long, lengthen it out, find each other. Okay, we're connected now. All right, let's go to gear 3. Boop, next change. Gear 3, let's go. Hut, hope, boom. And then you're in gear 3. You're knocking it out. You're rocking it out. Make sense?
Yeah. Now, to me, gear 4 just seems like, to me, logically, would work when we're coming downhill.
Well, you mean coming downwind?
Like either that or with the tide coming like back in the channel, for example.
It can.
I'm a rookie, so.
So that's the thing. Is water is dynamic, right? This is one of the, if not the most unstable environments in the world, other than air. So trying to find some kind of static response that's always going to work every single time you put the blade in the water, it's all situational, right? It all depends on what's going on. What I would say though, gear 4 is the part where there is some element to where, okay, we're all over the place. Maybe some guy's hitting at 2, one guy's hitting at 1, some guy's hitting at 3. Let's get everybody together. Let's get nice and long real quick. Let's find each other first. Okay? What happens
slower
is
stroke rate?
Yep. Well, you can slow the stroke rate down, or you're just basically keeping the blade in longer in the water. So remember, gents, the stroke rate's all dictated on not how fast you rip through the water, it's how long you keep it in the water, right? Faster stroke rate means you're pulling it out, you're shorting it off from the back, right? Obviously, time in the water, less time in the water, obviously higher stroke rate. When you'll find too, when guys are applying their power, some of them are applying at the beginning, some applying at the second gear, which a lot of paddlers do. So they say there's 3 types of paddlers. You got a group A, type B, and a type C. A type A is the paddler that's getting the grab up front and having all that time. A type B, which is a lot of paddlers, they're getting it, they put the blade at the same time, but then they're somewhere a little bit behind, right? And then you got your type C paddler, where their power, even though they put it here, the same place, they're putting all their power back here, and they're the ones saying, more reach! Because this is their stroke. More reach! More reach! When in fact, all you need to do is like, whoa, no more reach, you need to put your power here, bro. Yeah? So again, it's something to think about. You gotta get that grab, right?
Question.
Yes?
That long stroke, that over here.
It can, if you set up, like if the blade comes in and it sets up like so, like you set the blade and it does this, you're good to go. Okay, because it wants to release at this point. No matter what, by the time you come up by your bottom hand, gets to your hip, it wants to come up. Now, if you start your power somewhere in between and you try to make up the difference, and your blade ends up, like we're saying yesterday, Tuesday, any bit of your shaft is in the water, the back end of the stroke, yes, now you're slowing the boat down, because what's that look like? Hey, hold water, right? Instead of being on top of the water, you're holding water inside the water. So yes, so you don't want that blade to come in like this and then out. You want it like so, okay? So you set it and it just stays in that plane. It will, if you do it right, it'll naturally come off from here. It'll come out by the time your bottom hand gets to your, by your hip. Yes, yes. They're holding. They're making up the time that they lost by not putting their power at the very beginning, right? And it could be something biomechanical, but their bodies, they could be collapsing, right? If they collapse onto themselves, look what happens. My blade's here. I collapse. See what happens to the blade, yeah? Versus here, and then I just come up. Notice how the natural aspect of how the blade moves. So I hinge forward and back, and I come back up. Right? Blade comes up. I'm just gonna want to come up at this point. Right? But if I collapse, or I get my top hand too high, and I go down, now I still got to come up. Now I still got to come up. See this? Or something to this effect. This ends up happening. And this is bad. That's bad news. So great question. Does that answer though?
I remember get that blade out.
Right.
You're slowing the blade down.
Well, that was the idea to help mitigate that concept. But at the same time, the old stroke was this, right? And if you did that, if you went too far, what ended up happening was too, at the same time, the boat, if you didn't, if you went too far, well, yeah, you'd end up, all fishtailing. Exactly. Yeah.
So you kind of were covered a bit. You covered if you're breaking your elbow as you catch and breaking your elbow as you're trying to release it. If you're planting the blade, as you plant, you already start to pull, you already break it. And then, even after you get the catch, instead of doing a sit-up, you're breaking.
Right. Right, so to say you don't want to break and sit up at the same time. You want to grab, so when you grab something, your elbows break a little bit, right? Then you just got to maintain it. Then when it comes here, it's time to take it off, right? When you grab something, your elbows break, but you're not pulling. If you end up pulling, right, this is what ends up happening, right? You end up, if I pull, I slip, okay? I pull, I slip. I want to grab and bring myself and pick it up. Grab, pull myself, pick it up. Grab, pull myself, pick it up. Make sense? And in order, that grab is what gear 1 is. It's that establishment of power. That boom, you just turn the engine. Ready to go. And you're hitting the gas in that first gear. Make sense?
Can you talk a little bit about gears and bump?
Okay, well, so in respects to that, that comes with knowing your crew. You can't just think about gears and bump. You got to know your crew. Okay, but if I'm in a one-man and I get out there and I'm paddling on a one-man and I'm doing a gear 4, and all of a sudden I know when to time my grabs, time my gears. I know something's coming up. My boat, I'm going as fast as I'm going, maybe gear 2 or 3. I'm going 2 right now when my boat is flat, knowing I'm trying to get the speed up. Knowing that, so my boat is steady, and I know between sets that it's going to end up pushing behind me. I want to start picking up speed when my boat is completely flat. Now this is on the OC1. As I pick up speed, I'm like gear 2. Then I'm picking up speed, and I match the speed of the wave or the swell that's coming up, and then I ride it through. I try not to get ahead of it, but I try to be in a way to where I'm anticipating it. When I ride it out and I'm starting to get that whole speed, I start lengthening it out just so I can still stay connected to the point to where it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm now connected to water. I go paddles up, yay. Okay. So when in a 6-man boat, it's all depending on your crew. Some folks want to just go boop, 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 boop. You can do gear 2 real quick and try to catch it. Now, if you have a steersman that knows what they're doing, and you have a seat 5 that knows what they're doing, that could be a benefit. Or it also depends on what's going on. It's all situational, right? It's not something where, like, I could say, yeah, when you feel that way, you go to gear 2 and you gear 3, you'll be good to go. It's about understanding your crew and feeling the waves and feeling the boat. Because it could be that, hey, you know what? We're gonna get along and we're just connecting right now. Woo! But if it's choppy and it's crazy, or it's something going on and we're trying to catch big waves, yeah, you change it up. So you got it. That's why when you bring up gears, this is something that it's a whole dynamic that takes a whole season just to have a good understanding. But I'm gonna introduce it to you guys, and we're gonna talk about the gears for the month of March. So that way you know what it is that you're trying to at least understand how it is, what's going on with your blade when you put the blade in the water.
just to clarify it, even when you're in gear 2, 3, and 4, you still start with where your catch normally is, right?
You have to start from. How do you get to gear 2, 3, and 4? You got to start with what? What gear?
Well, with first, but
Yeah.
that's where the power is if you're in.
So yeah, absolutely. The power is always at the beginning.
Okay, so but I'll say when you're talking about being in gear 2 and 3, what's the difference?
The difference is just how long you keep the blade in the water.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So it's not like you're just trying to because no matter what.
It's just like gears.
Yeah.
Like gears in a car.
Yeah.
One's short, two's longer, three's longer.
Yeah. And no matter what, in your draw, this is the draw. This is the beginning of your stroke. This is the end of your stroke. And the distance between the top and the bottom is time. So if you start your power here, that's how much time you have and how much power you're actually contributing to the boat. So at the very least, you start your power always here and you just simply maintain and you're now just working time, right? So if you're here, you start here, power no matter what's going to dissipate because you're moving, right? So the idea is always establish power here. Just get that good grab at the beginning and everything else behind it is maintained, it's just consistent, right? And now you're just taking the blade out of the water depending on what gear you're in. Got it? Good question though. Anyone else? It's a lot. So I didn't want to talk about it. But it was asked, so it's good to talk about it though. It's good to talk about it. It's good to kind of get that perspective because how you interpret what it is what gear 1, 2, 3, and 4 is, that's something that now you're going to be thinking about as you initiate the stroke. Think about it. Are you really getting gear 1? Are you really getting gear 1? You know if you get gear 1 when you feel that T-handle. Remember we were talking about on Tuesday. You don't feel that T-handle at the very beginning, you ain't in gear 1. You are not in gear 1. If you feel it, you feel the top of the T-handle, you're in gear 2. And maybe 3. Or even worse, even 4 right at the beginning. Right? You want to have that top hand lock it, you're in gear 1. Just like if you're grabbing a pull-up bar, right? You don't grab a pull-up bar and do a pull-up like this, right? And then, no, you grab both hands, right? Make sense? Anyone else have any questions?